Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Natural as F. We want to just welcome you for being vigilant and coming and spending time with us every Tuesday at 6 o'clock to receive some good education about holistic health and hygiene, natural hygiene. That's our concept. Only using natural modalities in which to, restore health back to your body when you've lost it and to maintain health in your body while you have it. While you're still feeling good, you want to make sure that you stay feeling good. And if you're not feeling good, you want to start feeling better. So, natural hygiene shows you how to do just that very thing. And it's the same concepts, it's the same principles for the well as the sick. For you to get healthy, the same conditions that keep a sick man or gets a sick man healthy is the same conditions that keep a healthy man healthy. In the same conditions that make a man, well, keep a sick man sick is the same conditions that make a healthy man become sick. He have to do the very thing that the sick man is doing, and he will become sick as well. So that means even the sick man have to do the things that a healthy man do to become healthy. So the conditions are the same either in health or in sickness. So I want to just, thank y'all for just supporting us, sharing our videos. We need more support by you tagging at least 20 to 30 people and become friends with ATR Media. ATR Media is a beautiful platform. We want to thank our founder, and if you're in our area of Port Wentworth, make sure that you vote for him. He's running for the mayor Port Wentworth. If you want change in your city and you want a person that you know going to do right and for the people, well, that's your guy. There's other individuals that you can listen at on ATR Media. I be looking at a lot of the shows up here, and it just amazed me of all the powerful people that has, are doing their job to raise the awareness of people in the communities all over this land just on this site itself. So we want to make sure. I see Mr. Ferrante up here. Thank you, son, for being a part of this. Make sure you share with some of your friends too. Even though they're young, they still need to learn about getting health at an early age where they can maintain health. They can't raise themselves on the hamburgers and hot dogs and the French fries all their life. If they start now, the Bible says if you train up a child early, he won't depart from it. So we need to get you and your friends on fruits and vegetables early in life. Matter of fact, we got a great topic today that we're going to be talking about, and the topic is on fasting for health. And the young man my son, who was just up here, that made a comment, he know about fasting because he done a lot of fasting here at the house with me. I know for a fact he did 10 days straight without eating, with fasting, and he said, his energy level went through the roof. He was doing push-ups nonstop. He was building up his body all while he was fasting. So he know a lot about the fasting. We fast a lot in this household. If it's not pure hygienic fasting, it's we're doing intermittent fasting, or we're doing diet, types of fast where we fast from certain foods, and we would just only eat like fruits and stuff like that, and vegetable, nuts and seeds, which is the ideal diet anyhow. But we're going to be we talking about fasting for health. That is our first topic, and our second topic is not too far off from it because it's going to blend all in together. The topics that we have here, it's going to be fasting for health, then enzyme nutrition, and introduction to food combining. Because once you come off the fast, you want to make sure that you're eating properly, where you don't mess up all the good work you done did with fasting. Now, fasting is not no cure. Let me make sure that you understand that, and you don't get like, well, fasting is about the, cure all my disease. Well, fasting is not the cure. Your body tends to do better work when it's at rest. And fast is a type of rest. It's a physiological rest to your digestive tract. to a lot of your organs and tissues, because the heart also is a part of digestion. Even though it's not the digestive system, it's called the cardiovascular system. But imagine a digestive tract with no blood. So the cardiovascular system have to pump blood to a digestive tract that's constantly working. So the cardiovascular system is just well a part of the digestive system as the stomach and the other organs and tissues of the digestive tract. Not only is the heart a part of the digestive system or process, but you got the lungs. Imagine a stomach that has no oxygen in the blood to go into the cells. And then the brain, the nervous system. Imagine a stomach that has no functioning bowel. So all throughout the body is you'll say a symbiotic community of workings together to bring about this in stage thing called life, this melodrama going on in the body. So it's imperative that we incorporate all health functions throughout our body where we can maintain high levels of health. We get to that optimum state. That's where we really want to get to. So we want to work this thing down from fasting for health to enzyme nutrition, and we're going to give you a little introduction to food combining. All right, so you're going to learn some key concepts on how to combine your food properly. A lot of us think that we can just throw food together in our stomach and it's just one big burning furnace, and it just gives us energy the long as we just keep stuffing that furnace like it's some wood burn stove, that keeps a fire burning in there and giving us steam from a steam engine. But that's not how the stomach work. It's a physiological process that goes on in the stomach, and it's delicate, and it's an art to eating. You're just not stuffing yourself. It's an art to feeding yourself, and that art is called proper nutrition. All right, so we're gonna give you some little key concepts by introducing you to food combining or food combining concepts. Now, we're not going to go really far in detail in it because it's a lot of information, and you won't catch it off this one little video right here. But we're going to give you some key components to combining your foods a little different, where you can get a more a better digestive process, because it's not about what you eat mainly. It's more or less what you're able to assimilate from what you're eating. Can you pull something from that? Can you make use of any of that food? And if the food is not of value, you can't make use of it. If the food is not breaking down properly, because that's what digestion is, to properly break down into usable substances or usable material. But if it's rottening is different than digestion or breaking down properly. Rottening is a improper breakdown. Decaying is improper breakdown. So decomposition is an improper breakdown. You want to properly break your sugars down into, simple sugars. You don't want it to break down into, scattols or intoxicating properties or irritating properties. So the digestion is the proper breakdown of your food. So let's go into fasting though, because it's like I'll be in there already teaching you food combining, and that's how we're going to end our segment today. So we're going to go ahead and start in it, because most of the time when I start talking, I tend to delve into one subject mighty long, and I'll be rushing at the end of this, telling you, hey, we're going to have to continue this on another day. And then here it is. I got a whole bunch of new titles for you to learn about today. So make sure that you always, keep our videos on blast, and just have it on rewind. Just keep it on rewind, where you can just sit there and listen to it 3 times a day until you get an understanding of what we're talking about. Let our videos program your mind. The more you hear me talking in your ear, the more you see my face and I'm telling you this is what you should be doing, the more it will create a mindset for you. It's all about programming a mindset, changing your mind from the medical mentality to one of a holistic mentality. When you think like me, you'll behave like me. And my mind is telling you how to. I'm programming your mind by sharing what's in my mind. Now, so I'm sharing about fasting for health. Now, fasting is, like I said, it's not some new thing, and it's not the cure to disease, but it allows your body to be at rest where it can correct its own self. It can't correct itself while you're steady eating. Notice that when people are sick, they tend to not want anything to eat because the body have to conserve energy to deal with the threat. It have to have energy to deal with the situation at hand, the repair work and all this stuff. So it's kind of difficult to eat while you're working and handling business. Imagine I'm sitting here eating and trying to teach you at the rate that I'm going right now. I'm going to be having to stop, take a breath, chew food, and so those two processes can't go on at the same time, and neither can metabolism and digestion. Those two processes interfere with each other inside the body. So metabolism is the proper building and tearing down of your body. That's biology. That's the maintenance of your body, tearing down and repairing tissues and stuff like that. But digestion is the breakdown of food and preparing it for entrance or absorption into your body to become flesh and bone. And that's where it's like the digestion breaks the food down into simple substances, and then the metabolic enzymes take those simple substances and turn them into flesh and blood. So it's like a baton. One gives the other one the baton, but they can't run together. You know, one got to run first, and then the other one takes the baton and then finish the race. So the digestive tract begins the race, and then the digestive enzymes begin the race, and the metabolic enzyme they finish the race. So that's a good thing. It's marvelous how the human body works if we study science. Curiosity of how things work. Because that's all science is, just the curiosity of how this thing works. And it's a curiosity about how the digestive tract work and how do we nourish our body. How do food become living cells and tissue, flesh and blood? You're not curious about that? Well, that's what science teach. Um, so we want to start off by talking about fasting and versus starvation. A lot of people they don't want to fast because they think fasting is starvation. Fasting is not starvation. Fasting is when you willfully abstain from food. All right, so you abstain from food willfully. You don't eat on purpose. In other words, you purposely, consciously don't eat. That's fasting. Now, starvation is when you're hungry and want to eat, but there's just nothing there to eat, or you just can't get to no food. So it's a difference there. A man cannot starve with a refrigerator full of food, but he can fast with a refrigerator full of food. Now he can starve with a refrigerator full of food if the refrigerator bolted tight and chained tight, and or he's just out of his mind and can't get to the refrigerator to open it and grab something to eat. Those are the only conditions. But under normal conditions, a man who is starving cannot starve if there's food available to him. But fasting, the food can be there right in front of him, but he won't eat until the desire or until he break the fast, until breakfast. So fasting is not starvation. And fasting only allows the body to rest from constantly eating. Starvation is when there's just no food, available. Now, we know that fasting is not some new thing. If we look at it, there's, anybody who read the Bible, fasting, you read that in the Bible, from the beginning all the way to the end, you'll see fasting. You see that fasting was even pronounced by Christ to be a beneficial thing. He said, man shall always fast and pray. So fasting was even implemented by Christ himself. Say, hey, man, you need to stop all that eating, have self-control, and you just eat eat to nourish itself. I remember many times I read in the Bible where Jesus was teaching and preaching on the mountainside for how many days we don't know, but it said for 3 days the people were fasting, and he would break the fast before he let them go on their way to make sure that they don't fall prey to something while they're headed back home. Say, hey, let's find them some food. Go send them in the send the disciples into the city to go buy food to help all these multitudes of people fasting. Now he didn't have like two people, fasting. Mainly me when I supervise fast, I supervise probably about no more than about five people at a time. But in the Bible, it's recorded where Jesus was supervising thousands of people at one time, fasting at the same time, all of them conglomerated together on the side of a mountain while he teaching them about, hygienic life and stuff like that, teaching them the ways of life, how to, heal yourself and get closer to God. So here it is. He was teaching them about fasting. There's many instances in there where he was breaking the people fast. Even Paul in the Bible, when he was on the ship and heading to one area, can't remember the name of the area, but it's where he got bit by the snake. But before he got off there, it said that he also was fasting and had the people on there fasting on the boat for like 14 days, 10 or 14 days. It's one of the two. You can look it up. But it's Paul in the Bible. He was talking about when the part where he got bit by the snake. But that obviously that's probably what saved him, where he was able to deal with poisonous intake because his blood was so pure and his body was so healthy from his way of life of fasting and different things like that, that the snake bite didn't even affect them. So you can make it where your body is so optimized of health that it can throw off toxins rapidly and protect you when even toxins are placed around you or in your environment. That's the thing about maintaining health through fasting and other concepts that we talk about. But here we're concentrating on fasting. So other fasting in the Bible, we hear about the fasting of Jesus himself, where he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, not eating nor drinking. Some people look at that like, how is that possible? You mean tell me he didn't even drink? Well, it is possible. We know people who fast without eating and drinking as well. But if you notice, Jesus fast is a little different than our fast. He fasted where he went into the wilderness. He didn't eat, he didn't drink, he didn't talk to nobody, he didn't teach, he didn't work, he didn't do anything. He stayed by himself. There was nobody to get on his nerve. He didn't have to use no mental, visual, no type of sensory. He didn't work out or anything like that. He said he just went there and just went into nature and just rested and didn't drink nothing and didn't eat anything. So he when he came out, said he was full of power. Moses fasted for 40 days on the mountain before he came down with the laws of God. You have all these people who fasted, and when they got, completed their fast, they actually was more high in consciousness. They were they said they were shining and stuff when they came out of the fast and stuff. So this during this fasting, you're healing yourself and you're clearing out a bunch of garbage and self afflicted things in your life that you can actually become more aware and more conscious of life. So it's benefits to fast all kind of ways. Even we see that when cities in the Bible and stuff, like Jonah, for example, Jonah was running to a city where the people were doing wrong. And he went and told them that God was going to destroy them if they didn't tighten up. And the first thing that the king did was say, hey, he proclaimed a fast on the whole land. Everybody in the whole land had to fast in his kingdom. And God turned away the wickedness that was going to come to that city because of their fasting. Now, the wickedness could have been some plague or some disease. Now, the wickedness is coming to us too because our way of eating, our way of lifestyle. If we proclaim a fast on the Americans and the universal world, we won't see these epidemics and these pandemics that we're going through because we will avert the judgment of our lifestyle, our toxic eating and our toxic habits and stuff like that. We will be clean, that we can avert the plagues that are, snuffing us out, that's taking us out. The diabetic plague, the high blood pressure plague, the cancer plague, all these different plagues that's killing us. That would be averted provided we proclaim a fast and keep fasting often in our life, and getting our day of rest, maintaining rest throughout our life. Now, not only in the Bible do we read about fasting, but even in medicine. I want to talk about medicine a lot. So you want to listen to this one. But even in medicine, we see that fasting has benefits, but they won't proclaim fasting as a ideal thing. But they actually do use fasting for certain things, like before you can even get surgery or before you go into the emergency room. They want you to fast. They don't want you to eat anything because it interferes with their treatments and different things of that nature. Um, Fasting has been seen to help when you before you go into get certain procedures and stuff like that. So fasting is even seen in medicine. And with certain medications, you're going to have to fast because they don't want it to interfere with the medication. So it's a lot of interference going on with overeating, and the body can do more when there's not food it have to digest. When it can concentrate on metabolism instead of concentrating on metabolism and digestion. You get the point now? So let's look at holistic fasting. Holistic fasting is where we're at right now. We talk about fasting in disease and we talk about fasting in health. So fasting is similar to us talking about cleaning the house. Imagine that fasting will help in disease and it will help in health. Even if you're healthy, you still want to take a day or two of fasting a week, or it was the disciple in the Bible in Luke that said that he fasts 2 days every week. It doesn't matter. He said every week I fast 2 days at least. So fasting is not something that you have to only do, at the first of the year with the church, or when they call a Daniel diet or something like that. And Daniel diet is not a fast. I know a lot of people say Daniel, I did the Daniel fast. Well, that's not a fast. That's a way of eating Daniel did. Fasting is when you're abstaining from food, no food whatsoever. So, but the diet is just modified. You're eating a modified diet. Daniel diet is a modified diet where it's modified from eating animal flesh, from eating toxic foods. They have you eating a vegan lifestyle. It's like you just call Daniel diet a vegan diet, or he's not even a vegetarian because he didn't mess with eggs, cheese, or butter, anything like that. It was just fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seasoning. He only drank water. So that's a vegan diet. So that would be a diet, not a fast. But I know we tend to misuse the word fast. Even I had my wife talking about a watermelon fast the other day that she was doing, but that's not a fast. That's just a diet. It's not to be mixed with the terminology. I know we're playing semantics here, but it's to be right with the wording, where people won't misunderstand when we say, let's do a fast. A fast is going to be more ideal when we're doing that, what it is, a fast, where we don't eat anything, just drink water according to thirst. So I'm not telling you don't drink with yours. It will be a demand for water, especially in these hot months. You That might not be ideal to be doing any dry fasting during the hot summer months. Those type of months you might want to do it like the bear, when he goes and don't drink or eat anything for all through the winter. He come out this nice slim bear, with no skin hanging or anything like that. No ketosis, acidosis, or none of that problem that they say that results from fasting. He don't come out with low blood sugar and other health issues from fasting. People who get trapped up under get trapped and stuff where they can't get out in blizzard storms and stuff like that, and be trapped for weeks on end until they're rescued. They don't have anything to eat and they don't have nothing to drink, and they come out fair. So it's fasting, and they're not actually fasting on purpose. Imagine when you're doing it on purpose, so you can be more into the fast. But fasting in disease is like you're fasting when you're sick. So when you're fasting when you're sick, that means that you're now not eating anything. Like we see with people who, develop cold elimination or cold crisis or some other crisis to eliminate toxins out of the body. They tend to lose the desire for food. That's one of the things happen when you tend to get sick. When you come down with an acute crisis, or some type of acute disease, your body loses the desire to eat. And that losing of a desire to eat is the body is initiating its own fast. In other words, it's initiating its own fast to get you to conserve energy, because when you're fasting, that energy that is used in digesting food is now reverted to um, or reversed or turned into or used, you'll say switched to healing the body, fixing the body up. It can be, you can be sent over to your brother. It's loaned over there to your brother metabolism. Digestion loans his energy to his brother metabolism when he's not using it. But digestion is going to take priority if you're constantly eating a lot of foods. That's why there's no metabolism going on, no healing going on as long as you eat it. That's why you see a lot of people, if they continuously eat, even when they're sick, they tend to prolong the sickness. The sickness become even more chronic, in other words. So it's better, if you want to correct your health issues, is to work with the body by conserving energy. And one of the best ways to conserve energy in disease is to fast, not eat. Fasting in health is what we're talking about. You don't have to wait till the last minute to say you don't want to get sick. That's the whole number one thing about prevention, is to not get sick. And the only way you can not get sick is if you live in such a way that you don't produce sickness. And so you want to conserve energy before you have to conserve energy. You don't want to wait till the last minute to start saying, I want to put money aside. Start conserving energy now. And the best way we say to conserve energy is what? To stop eating. Stop eating so often. Take a couple of days of fasting, and that will conserve huge amounts of energy that can be used for metabolism and keeping your body maintenance. It's like keeping the body maintaining high levels of health. All right. So I hope fasting, this little quick overview of fasting we gave you, gives you the mindset that fasting is not starvation. Fasting is not some new thing. It's been ever since the people in the Bible have been doing it. They've been doing it from day one all the way to the end of Revelation. We see fasting in there. Even John was fasting while he was on the island of Patmos, when he got the revelations and all type of stuff. So this fasting thing is not something new and something to be, looked at as like, is it kill me and different things of that nature. You just need to get in tune with it, get your mind right, and benefit from it. It's a gift from God. So let's get into enzyme nutrition, because I know I'm already at the halfway mark of the segment, and we want to make sure that we're getting enough of information for what we have on our topics today. And we're going to talk about enzyme nutrition. So when we come off that fasting, it's time for us to eat. It comes a time where your fasting can turn into starvation. You can't just indiscriminately fast for years and years and stuff like that. It comes a time where your body is going to desire or demand food. So we got to make sure that we're eating the right food. And what breaks that food down is enzymes. And we were talking a little bit about enzyme nutrition. All right. So we're going to tell you a little bit about enzymes. All right. So enzymes helps the body break down things in the body. Like stuff come in the body, like digestive enzymes. We're going to talk about metabolic enzymes. We're going to talk about digestive enzymes. And we also going to talk about food enzymes. Now, all those are different enzymes that we're going to talk about to get you to understand about enzyme nutrition. I want to give you a proper definition of what an enzyme is. All right. So, an enzyme is a type of protein found within our cells, and they create chemical reactions in the body. They actually speed up the rate of a chemical reaction to help support life. In other words, the enzymes in your body help to perform very important tasks. So enzymes are needed to digest your food. When food come into your body, like say an apple come in your body, you chew up the apple and break it down into a little smaller bite-sized stuff. Those things have to be turned into you'll say simple sugars. Like you still got sugars in there, but it had to be broken down into bare blocks. In other words, the bare blocks, the beginning blocks of what that apple was made of. So that's where digestion come in. Chewing breaks it down into smaller bite-sized pieces where now the enzymes can come and take that and split them apart. All right. So if you look at the picture that I have up here, you'll see that it says a substrate, sucrose. Sucrose is a complex sugar. It got many chains on it. It's not just one chain sugar. It's like two chains wrapped around each other. So it's a disaccharide. So sucrose is a two chain sugar. It's like they wrapped around each other and stuck together and fused together. But what the enzyme do, the enzyme through a chemical process and just being there, it breaks those two chains apart and make them one and one. All right. So if we look up here, we see that you got a bond. These two sugars are bonded together. That's that interwoven thing I'm telling you about. That bonded together. So you got these two molecules of sugar. They're bound together. All right. And this enzyme, if you see at the bottom, that's that purple thing. Enzyme, the you have the sucrose or the bond. It sits right there next to or inside the enzyme, and through a process, a chemical process, they release the bond. It unlocks the bond. All right, and it releases that both enzymes out as single pieces now. So they're not connected anymore. It breaks the connection between those two sugars, making them now able to be absorbed in the body because the body can't absorb the bond, this complex material. It can only take the material in piece by piece. So the enzymes come there and separate and breaks it down into piece by piece to be sent into the blood and then taken into the cell. So that's the job of the enzyme is to break down, like say for example you're in a warehouse and you got material coming in the warehouse. You take the stuff off the truck and you're the enzyme breaking it down to go store it in the shelves where they need to put in, but you got to break it down. You can't just go store it in there. You got to break down the pallets and carry the different stuff where they need to go at, strategically placed in the warehouse. So this is what is going on with the enzyme. You're the enzyme in the warehouse, but the enzyme in your body does the same thing. When incoming material come in, it breaks down the pallet or breaks down the materials coming in into simple sugars and send them where they need to go at throughout the body. So that's the job of enzyme. So you can take that picture off now. I want to more or less talk about the different enzymes. We got metabolic enzymes, we got digestive enzymes, and we got food enzymes. So we can take that picture off now and can bring me back on the screen fully where you can see my face talking and you can see me Um, um, you can see me talking a little better. But metabolic enzymes, it'll probably go off in just a second. But metabolic enzymes are enzymes that the body has that tear down old cells. It's like it changes old cells and turn them into new cells, or get rid of those cells and create new cells. So that's what those enzymes do. Not only do they do that, they remember I told you when the sugar goes into the body, then enzymes inside the body transform that into energy, structure, different things like that. So enzymes are doing all the processes in your body. So they're very important. But now enzymes, they don't usually be destroyed after being used. Like one, if you notice, since they got the picture still up, um, if you notice at the end of this chain, the purple thing is still there. It didn't affect it when it broke that bond loose. So the enzyme is still able to get now come back over and get a whole nother bond and do the same process and just keep breaking stuff loose. All right. So enzymes are not destroyed when they're used, but there is ways to destroy enzymes in your body, and something that destroys enzymes rapidly is heat. Enzymes are destroyed by heat. Also, enzymes are destroyed, or they're denatured when they are diluted. Um, so you don't want to dilute the enzymes, and that's where we're going to get into when we're talking about food combining, where you want to eat properly and don't drink with your meals, where you don't dilute the enzyme. So where you can have great digestion. It's all about what you're able to digest. You remember? So let's look at it. Metabolic enzymes. Metabolic enzymes are enzymes that build up the body and tear down the body. So that's your metabolic process. That's your building up, your repairing, your detoxing. All that's going on by way of metabolic enzyme. But all the food that you eat have to be digested by digestive enzymes. All right. All of them have to be digested by digestive enzymes. So when you digest food, when you eat food, those foods require digestion. And when we get to food combining, you're going to notice that there's certain food requires different enzymes to break it down. And different enzymes, you got enzymes that are alkaline in nature, and you got enzymes that's acidic in nature. Now, those are two different types of enzymes. If they get together, they neutralize each other out. If something is like water is alkaline and vinegar is acidic, when you put water and vinegar together, they dilute each other out. They neutralize each other. The water is not so watery anymore. It's not so alkaline anymore. But the so is the vinegar is not so acid anymore. It's diluted. So it's not strong and neither is it weak anymore. But your certain food require a strong acid to break it down. And certain food don't require no acid to break it down. Matter of fact, it won't break down in a acid environment or an acid medium. It's just going to actually it's going to destroy the other enzyme. Matter of fact, one enzyme is destroyed in a acid medium, such as amylase. That's enzymes that break down starches in your mouth. You got enzymes that break down bread. And like if you put a piece of bread in your mouth, you'll notice that it breaks down right there in your mouth. It starts dissolving in your mouth because the enzyme that breaks down starches, that breaks down potato, that breaks down any other type of carbohydrate, it start dissolving right there in your mouth because the enzyme that breaks them down is produced in your mouth. It's called salivary amylase. All right. Now, if you put a piece of meat in your mouth, you're going to notice that it doesn't dissolve. It's just going to sit there. It's not going to dissolve because the enzyme that breaks it down is not present. The enzyme that breaks the meat down is at the lower end of your stomach, in the area where hydrochloric acid is formed at. And this enzyme is called pepsin. Pepsin is the enzyme that breaks proteins down into amino acids. Now, proteins are foods such as steak, oxtails, fish, chicken, nuts, seeds, any type of cheese, milk, all those eggs, all those things that come from an animal byproduct are more protein than anything else. Those are what we consider high protein food. Now, there's proteins in fruits and stuff, but not in a large percentage. Maybe only 7-8% of the fruit is of a protein. So it's not considered a protein food. But these other foods are 90, almost 100% protein. So we look at them as high protein foods, and they require an enzyme called pepsin to break that down in a hydrochloric acid. But that enzyme that is produced in your mouth, if you notice, it can't be in a acid medium. Otherwise, it can't perform in an acid medium. That's why it's performed in your mouth where it's not acid. And you can tell it's not acid because your mouth not burning. Your mouth not on fire. It's not irritating and burning up your tongue and destroying your teeth and stuff like that. But we do notice that in people who are suffering with that problem, they're eating too much meat and flesh food that and not eating any vegetables. So their character of their salivary turn to acid to try to deal with the overabundance of meat that they're eating. So they start producing acid through their mouth. That is a adaptation, and that's why they do have so much of the decaying going on in their teeth, and their mouth is suffering with all type of lesions and sores and different things of that nature. So we want to look at this enzyme nutrition as a way of correctly eating properly. I know it sounds a lot of scientific the way I'm talking when I'm talking about amylase and pH balance and stuff like that. I'm trying to give it to you and break it down into common language for you when I give you the water scenario and the vinegar scenario. And when I talk about the bread in your mouth, you can relate to putting a Krispy Kreme donut in your mouth and it's just dissolving right there in your mouth. Well, you know what did that? It was amylase. The enzyme amylase just dissolved that donut in less than a couple of seconds. But when you put a steak in your mouth, it don't just dissolve. So the enzyme that breaks down carbs is released in your mouth. That's why you got to make sure you chew your food up and give proper mastication of your food, in your mouth, because your stomach can't do that, and it don't have a chance to mix with the enzyme that's released in your mouth. So that's a very great observation that we have to pay attention to. So we also want to talk about food enzyme. I did a show a while back where we were talking about enzyme nutrition in more detail. And if you want to learn more about it, because I don't want to spend much time on that now, I want to go in food combining real quick because we got like 15 minutes left up here. So I want to get you to go back and look at our titles. And we got a title where we were talking about enzyme nutrition, where you can learn even more about these enzymic processes, these different enzymes and their functions in the body. Also, we talked about food enzymes because every food has enzymes equipped in them. That's why we say when you start cooking your food, you destroy the enzymes. Enzymes are destroyed by heat. You got enzymes in your fruits and your vegetables. Anytime that they are, you soak them in water for long periods of time, you destroy, you dilute the enzyme, wash them out. So there's enzymes in the food that starts breaking the food down for you. You don't have to. The more a food ripen and start breaking down, that's the enzyme breaking the food down that you can use. Now, you don't want to get to a point where it's rotted. You want to get it where it's fully ripe. When it start going over that, then it start breaking down, decaying. But you want to make sure that it's fully ripe. That's when the food enzymes inside the food has prepared the food for you to take and it don't even have to really be digested. So you conserve your digestion because the food is already pre-digested for you. Like a banana, a good ripe banana dissolve fast and absorb into your body real quick because it's already broken down into simple sugars. It tastes like sugar, it's sweet as I don't know what. So a fully ripe fruit is just pure sugar mostly. It's fructose. When it's really fully ripe, it's full of nothing but fructose, and fructose is a simple sugar. So no enzyme have to be produced to break down the bond of fructose because it's already broken down. So it just goes straight on into your body and used for energy. You be hyped, vitalized off of fruits, and you don't have to waste digestive energy, and all your body can be metabolizing the whole time. It can be healing itself and correcting itself nonstop when you're not having to digest food, when your food is already pre-digested. So eating fresh fruits and vegetables is allowing you to have a pre-digested meal that saves you huge amounts of energy, and it'll just have you vitalized and keep repairing your body. So when you're coming off the fast, it's ideal that you eat a fresh fruit to get into your back into your health and to maintain your health. So let's go into food combining, and I believe we have a pic up here to show you about food combination. All right, so we got this food combinations. Can you pull that up a little bit and we just scroll up and down where I can just teach from it? Let's see if we can do that. Right, and just pull it down a little bit for us where we can talk about it. See if you can highlight it just a little more for. See how much more we can bring it up a little more if you can. Let's bring it up just a little bit more. If you see here on this, that's good where you got it at right now. Let's leave it right there. All right, so we got proteins, we got fats, and we got carbohydrates. Remember we was talking about proteins and carbohydrates. We got enzymes that break down carbohydrates, and we got enzymes that break down protein. All right. Now, remember I told you that they can't be in your stomach at the same time. This is the introduction to food combining. You know, we already know what proper digestion is. That's when you break down the food properly. I talked about that at the beginning. So we got to make sure that what we're eating is being digested, properly broken down. Just because we're eating food don't mean that it's digesting properly. So we got our stomach. Our stomach is just one cavity. It's just wide open. It's not like it got different compartments. Just one compartment. That compartment have to change itself according to the it's like an oven. You have to prepare the oven for what you're cooking. If you're cooking a roast, it got to be at 325. If you're cooking a pie, it got to be down. It got to be lower heat. It got to be 275. If you're cooking a cake, it got to be a little higher at 425. If whatever you cooking, you have to adjust the temperature of the oven to the food that you're preparing. So when you take in food, your stomach is somewhat like that oven. You have to adjust the time. Every food got a certain amount of time that it must stay into your stomach for digestion. Some food requires 2 hours of digestion. Some food requires 5 hours of digestion. Some food requires 10 hours of digestion before it can be properly broke down. The more complex the food is, the longer is the digestive time. Also, certain foods require different tools in which to cook them in. You don't cook a cake in a you say a roaster pan, and neither do you do a roaster in a bunt pan. You know what I mean? A roast in a bunt pan. You know, certain tools for each food item that you're fixing. So your stomach requires certain enzymes for the food eating. Carbohydrates require amylase in the mouth. Proteins require pepsin in the stomach to digest. And remember, I say that they are opposite in nature. One of them is watery and one of them is highly acidic, like vinegar. So when you're eating a carb and a protein at the same meal. Now, let me give you an example of a carb and a protein meal at the same meal. That's a hamburger, a hot dog, spaghetti and noodles with meatballs, the lasagna, the fish and chips. Any type of carb protein, the chicken and biscuit, so the chicken and fries, the shrimp and fries, all those are eating in combinations across our land every meal time, the bacon and biscuit sandwich, the chicken biscuit sandwich, the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, all the croissant sandwich, all those foods are foods that we're eating in a carbohydrate protein combination. And if you look at this at the top of this, it shows you this thing, a red line from carbohydrates to protein, saying that that's poor. That's a poor combination because that biscuit requires amylase to break it down in your stomach, and the sausage require pepsin to break it down in your stomach. So your stomach have to prepare itself to digest a biscuit and a sausage. So how can you adjust a stove to that cook a cake and a pie at the same time? Something is going to not turn out right. So something is might going to burn, and something might be undercooked. So here it is. These foods should not be eaten at the same time. And that's why we're suffering a lot of the health issues that we're suffering from. Because let's say, for example, you eat a sausage biscuit and the stomach decide to deal with the sausage. But if you notice, it's not like you eat the sausage first and then eat the biscuit. We eat the biscuit and the sausage together, and we chew and mix it so fine that how can the stomach, move the biscuit out of the way and then move the sausage over to the side and say, well, I'm going to go ahead and start digesting this sausage. It can't do that. So the body looks at it like, I don't know what to do here. So it just starts just sending a bunch of acid to break it down. And that's when we start having this acid reflux, this burning, this grumbling going on in our stomach because bad digestion going on. The food starts rotting because it can't digest properly. So we want the food to digest properly. If you notice, there are certain foods that go well together, like carbohydrates go well with non-starchy vegetables. Proteins go very well with non-starchy vegetables, like asparagus. You can do chicken with asparagus. You can do carbohydrates like rice and cabbage. So you can eat the foods that you're eating, but if you want to really get better digestion and still indulge in some of the foods you're eating, we're giving you a means to transition here. I really want you to be on nothing but fresh fruits and vegetables. You know what I mean? Raw fruits and vegetables. But I want to transition my listeners over where they'd be like, well, come on, give us something that's practical, getting us off this thing. How can we, feel a little bit healthy right now? If I can get you to feel a little health right now, it might make you want to take the next step. So let's wean you off some stuff by just modifying your eating habits. We're going to modify it. So instead of eating the sausage biscuit, let's do the sausage and some vegetables, a sausage in a salad, chicken in a salad instead of chicken biscuit, instead of chicken and fries, instead of fish and fries. Let's do the fish in a salad. Let's do the fish salad and some steamed vegetables. Let's do the chicken steamed vegetables in a salad. Put a salad with everything that you eat. What I'm saying? Let a salad be a part of every meal you eat, except for your fruit meal. Eat your fruit meal, eat your fruit by itself. And let your fruit be the first meal of the day. It doesn't take that long to digest. Any other food takes longer to digest, and you want to make sure that your fruit don't have to sit and wait on other food to digest. Remember, a lot of this food takes a long time to digest. So you want to eat your simplest food first, which is your fruits, and then you start eating heavier meals throughout the day, which you shouldn't be eating nothing but 2 meals a day. All right, so we're about to run out of time here, and I just want to make sure, I just want to give you a good recap real quick, about how to look at health, how to get into fasting for health, a little bit about your enzyme nutrition, and also recap a little quick introduction on food combining. So, like we said, fasting for health is not no new thing. You can benefit from the fast. A lot of people have had so much benefits from the fast. Their skin cleared up. Their eyes started seeing again. They started hearing. People started hearing after fasting for a prolonged time. So a lot of functions are restored back to you when the fast is completed, when you do a proper fast. Not this diet eating or changing, talking about I'm fasting because I'm eating nothing but fruits and vegetables. That's not a fast. That's how you're supposed to be eating in the first beginning. That's just a modification of your diet. So it's great that, don't get me wrong, if that's what you want to do, by all means do that. I'm not telling you to not do the fruit eating for a long time. Hey, by all means, follow Daniel all day long. You'll see a great benefit of health, like the soldier saw in him and his people who followed him. So you'll see the same thing as well. We want to talk about enzyme nutrition. Um, when you start protecting your enzymes and eating in the right manner, you don't have to use your digestive enzymes and all your metabolic enzymes, the healing of your body. If you're not eating, your body is healing, in other words. So let me stop saying enzyme, but just know that when you're not digesting food, your body is healing. So if you're eating food that is already pre-digested, you don't have to use energy in digesting that food, and that energy will be used for repairing your body. That's enzyme in a nutshell. All right. I know I used a lot of scientific terms a few minutes ago, but if you just do that one thing, eat fresh fruits and vegetables on the Daniel diet, you know, you will have you will conserve your digestive process, and your metabolic process will be ongoing. So healing will be ongoing in your body effortlessly. And when you start eating these fresh fruits and vegetables, and then you start putting other food back into your diet, let's make sure that you're eating them in the right combination. Let's not put foods that are incompatible together and thinking that they're going to digest. Foods digest proper when they're compatible with each other. So eat carbs with carbs, eat proteins with proteins, and leave. Don't eat carbs and proteins together. So this will be that in a nutshell. If you can just remember that one rule of food combining, you will save yourself from a lot of sicknesses and disease. I want to tell y'all thank you. I love y'all. Keep the health. Health for the millions is what we incorporate. We want everyone in our community to be healthy. We want to thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, if you're in the Port Wentworth area, vote for our producer, Julius Hall, for mayor. And I want y'all to have a great week. I love y'all. Like I said, meet us back here Tuesday at 6 p.m. Best of health and happiness.